The first item of business on our agenda is the minutes of our previous meeting from 11/25 of '21, copies of which are in the packets. Any revisions or corrections necessary for the minutes? If not, I'll take a motion to approve them. Motion by Herbst. Is there a second? Second by Wadinsky. Discussion? Seeing none, members in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None are opposed. That motion carries. Item number 2 is to consider approval or denial of various license applications. You have the batch in front of you for this month. Let me just switch to the list here. And we have a couple of operators recommended for denial. By our ordinance, those recommended for denial can approach the committee and discuss with them any elements of the record that may be factually incorrect, and appeal the denial recommendation. The first one is Austin Savosky. Is Austin Savosky with us this evening? Austin Savosky. Let the record show Austin has not appeared to address the committee. Second one is Chris Sommerfeld. Welcome.
I don't fully understand the process for which it is denied. I know that under the letter that I was sent, it was for battery from something that happened 3 years ago, and it was an exempt offense. And I did have a conversation with the chief of police, and he said I'd still have to come with you guys and kind of just explain what I'm doing now and kind of go from there.
Well, the chief is here, so if you would like to, I guess, clarify, obviously if the license is recommended for denial, it's recommended based on published criteria that we have for licenses, so that we are treating them all consistently. So what element of the record, I guess what's different? Why would we not deny this one?
Well, it's not that it's not incorrect. It is correct. It's just I've come a long way since then. I've moved to another state to avoid the person that said battery had happened. I came back because my mom is ill. I currently am working at a gas station. I've held operator's license in Rothschild and Weston prior to this, and I was at the company for 9 months, and now I'm back there, and they require a license for the municipality of Wausau.
Okay. And
Sure.
Ben, go ahead. Or not Ben. Pat, and then I have a question for Ben. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I have a question for Ben, too. Since battery is an exempt offense, I was wondering if the chief could comment on why this one is still up for denial.
I think because it's an exempt offense, that is why it is up for denial.
Well, what does it mean when it's exempt?
That means that they don't have the ability by statute or by our policy to provide evidence of rehabilitation. So if there was an offense that was not an exempt offense, which is the majority of offenses, they have the ability to show us that they've rehabilitated, and we consider that in whether or not they're approved or denied. In a battery conviction, that is an exempt offense, and then by our policy, we don't look at evidence of rehabilitation. Is that accurate, Tara?
It's pretty accurate. What it says is we're not discriminating against somebody if we fail to approve for licensing based on the existence of an offense. They call it under the statute an exempt offense. That doesn't mean that the city couldn't, I guess, do that, but we're not required to do that. It's not employment discrimination under the state statutes to fail to make that exception. And the city, since they've made the changes to the statutes, been pretty consistent, I think, or uniformly consistent in denying them. Where we find this offense also is substantially related to the activity of bartending.
I currently work at a gas station. That's the only reason I need it for, so that I can sell liquor and beer to the consumer.
Okay.
I'm
The-
not.
The challenge we have is the same license allows you to tend bar or sell it in a convenience store. There's not a retail-only license, so, this one would allow both privileges, whether we intend that or not. So I guess talk to us about what is different. You've moved and you've kind of turned over a new leaf.
Yes, ma'am. I came back and I just have a whole different attitude. I was very angry before. I've calmed down since then, very patient with myself and everyone else, trying to think before I act or even say anything. Yes, ma'am, no, sir. Trying to use my manners as much as possible, because some people can be very aggravating. But it's, if you take that time and consider that maybe that person's having a bad day, and that was not the old me. I'd probably punch them in their face. And that's not me anymore. I'm very relaxed and, hey, I'm so sorry, that happened to you. How can I help you? Type of deal, whether it be professional or personal,
And you've had this discussion about these changes with the chief in your phone conversation?
To an extent, yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Tara.
Have you, you said you're a changed person. Have you gone through anger management classes or counseling in order to achieve this?
I'd be happy to do whatever to.
But I'm just wondering, have you to date?
Not currently, no.
Okay, thank you.
Ask the chief another question.
Certainly.
Are there other offenses on Mr. Sommerfeld's record that you considered in your denial recommendation? And do you know whether the battery was alcohol-related?
I don't know if it was alcohol-related. It was a domestic violence-related battery conviction. There was additional charges from 2016 in a no-contest plea, including bail jumping and neglecting a child. Those are both misdemeanors. And so, when I'm reviewing the policy that the city council's created, when I'm reviewing and making recommendations on denial or acceptance, and I try to be as consistent as possible in those recommendations. And so, I think I've been really consistent in making those approvals or denials. Obviously, it's up to you folks at this point to accept my denial recommendation or not. When I see a 2018 conviction for battery, I think that is I think that's a relatively recent conviction. I know 3 years can be a long time, but I think that's relatively recent in the scheme of whether or not to approve or deny a license. So that goes into my recommendation as well.
And so following your discussion with Mr. Sommerfeld, your recommendation remains to deny, Chief?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay. Go ahead, Pat.
I would move that we approve the licenses as recommended with the exception of Mr. Sommerfeld and allow him to have a license.
Okay, so we'll take the batch and then take him separate? Is that what you're asking for?
However you'd like to handle it,
Okay.
that'd be fine.
Let's take that one separate from the batch. That way you can do an accept or deny motion on the others. So we'll remove that one from the batch to consider right after this vote. So on the others, do we have a motion to accept or deny licenses as recommended by staff, with the exception of Chris Sommerfeld?
I would make that motion.
We have a motion from Peckham. Is there a second? Second by McElhaney. Further discussion? Members in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? None are opposed, that motion carries. Now we'll have a separate motion. Is there a motion to approve the license for Chris Sommerfeld?
I would make that motion.
Motion by Peckham, is there a second? Second by Herbst. Discussion or questions? Go ahead, Becky.
My only question is, so you are currently working at the R store,
Yes, ma'am.
and you're working in Weston or Schofield?
I'm currently at the Wausau location that's connected to Arby's there by the Kasuric dealerships.
Okay, so you're out there, or you're out on, by Fleet out there?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
But you said that you had worked at Weston Rothschild before, or?
Yes, ma'am. According to chief, they go by different policies.
Right,
than
right. I just
Wausau.
want to, I'm more worried about, so you have, how long have you worked at the art store?
Prior to this, I had 9 months. I left there, went to the store in Weston, was able to get my liquor license, came back to our store, then applied for a Wausau license, and hence I'm here before.
So that's it. Okay, so, but you have worked, I mean, so you've worked more than 9, you know. What I was trying to get at is that you had said that you need the liquor license, of course, for the art store for selling alcohol, but that you previously, I thought you previously worked at another art store and you know, that in another jurisdiction.
Yes, ma'am. I worked at the R store next to Krieger Wholesale
Okay, okay,
out there in Rothschild.
okay. Thanks. That's what I kind of gathered, that you were just moved locations and needed a new liquor license. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right. And so your intention with this particular license is retail, not tavern? Is that,
Correct.
okay. So with that, then, go ahead, Jim. You have a question?
Can our license restrict it to retail?
No. They have both privileges with it. So he could take the license and go work in a bar.
I
Can
do
this-
not plan to.
Can this
leave-
committee make that exception and restrict it?
No. Because when you give the license, you have to give them the full license for server.
I just like to comment that I do not plan on leaving our store or use it for any other means besides retail.
Okay. All right, with that, we've got a motion and a second on the floor then to approve the license. Members in favor of approving the license, vote aye.
Aye.
Members in favor, opposed to approving the license, vote no. I'll vote no. That license then is recommended for approval, 4-1.
So what do I do from here?
Contact me tomorrow morning.
I'm sorry, and you are?
I'm the deputy clerk,
Okay.
so,
Just contact City Hall
yeah,
or,
come to clerk customer service tomorrow,
okay, any time or,
anytime between 8 and 4:30.
okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yep, and that license is approved. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 3 is operations report from the fire department from November of 2021. Anything notable on the report that you guys want to ask Deputy Chief Kopp about? Go ahead, Jim.
With the agreement with the sheriff's office on working special teams, on Thames, what is the training? Do you have training just like the officers do for, make sure your people are safe when they're working with the special teams?
You specifically talking about Thames?
Yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, training with Wausau PD as well as the sheriff's department is more of the, boy, the team is slipping my mind. What's our sheriff's? The SWAT, our SWAT firefighters or EMS, sorry. It's a little bit different in that case where we work together with PD to train for Thames, but a little different with the 5 members that are on the SWAT team. So we only have 5 members that join with the sheriff's department on the SWAT team, where we do a joint training with Wausau PD annually or more often to train in Thames.
So you feel our firefighters, EMS people are adequately trained and safe and working with that team?
I do.
Very good, thank you.
Anything else on the report? Anything on the report, Jeremy, that you want to talk with us about?
Well, yeah, as you guys can see, we changed the look of the monthly report, wanted to better tell our story as a department as well as an organization, and as well as make it easier for us to make an annual report out of our monthly reports. So wanted to make mention of that and let any of you know if you want to see something in there additionally than what we put in there, we'd be happy to do that. We're getting all our chiefs involved in the monthly report, so we're telling a story from all the divisions, as well as talk a little bit about our charitable foundation and some of the things that they're doing. That's all information you guys weren't getting before, so want to just make you guys aware of the change, and hopefully it works out in a little bit better information than what you're getting before, so,
It's a great format.
thanks.
Okay. Anyone else have anything on the fire report?
I just thought it was
Go ahead.
great to read about the life saved out in Marathon, and as I was reading it, I thought, boy, she's going to be awful lucky if she emerges from that as the same person in the last line, as that she had full neurologic function, so it was like, good for you guys. It was really great.
John, thank you.
Inspiring. Great report. Okay, we'll place that report on file. The next report that we have to review is tavern activities, compliance checks, and law enforcement activities. Anything on that report that you want to talk with Chief Bliven about?
Just wondering if, I think at the last meeting, the one I missed, you said you were going to have some dialogue with the cop shop.
Yes.
Wonder if that took place and if you made some progress.
I think progress is probably yet to be determined. I did have a conversation with Ashley, the manager of Cop Shop Pub. She said they are experiencing some difficulties with some of their clientele, so she's working with their staff on setting boundaries, knowing when to call police and those kinds of things. They did accept a meeting with Lieutenant Felder on the first week of January. He's going to go to one of their staff meetings and talk to their staff about de-escalation, when to call police, that kind of thing. So what Ashley expressed to me is that they think some of the clientele from Rock's Place has gone to Cop Shop Pub, and that is why they're experiencing some of the issues. Most recently, last week, I received a phone message from the owner of the bar who expressed the same thing in the phone message and said that their intention is to close at midnight, effective immediately starting last week, so that they can try to head off some of the issues they're seeing from that really late night bar crowd. I talked to Ashley about the video system that they have, which is very old. The only way to get video actually off of the system is to go into the system, hit play, and then record the video with an iPhone so that they can send it to us. So I did encourage her to look into new video systems so that they have a good system that's easily accessible. She could even watch what's going on in the bar from her home if necessary. She said that they were going to look into that. So they are taking efforts to try to minimize the issues that they're experiencing. If you look in our report for this month, you'll see that there was a lot of extra patrol that we documented in that report. So they are working hard to try to minimize those issues, but they are struggling right now.
Okay. Yeah, good to see that extra patrol is happening, and it didn't look like there was a ton of things of concern noted, so, but, at least they're working with the owner. I think that's the key, is that if the owner's cooperating and trying to do a better job, that's super helpful. Jim?
Yeah, I'm really impressed that our city government and the departments that we have are willing to work with businesses to help them succeed and have a viable business and take care of problems. So I commend the police department for working with them and trying to help them solve some of their problems.
Yep, I think that's always our goal, is to make sure that relationship is positive and helpful. And, as long as there's cooperation and there's a commitment to try to improve the things that are wrong, normally that's as far as it has to go. But, if that relationship doesn't, if that cooperation isn't happening, then we certainly have other tools, so. All right, and anything on the rest of the report that you want to talk to the chief about? Or anything on the report that you wanted to talk with us about, Chief?
No, that was it, just the update on Cop Shop.
Okay. And other than that, it's, looks like a pretty standard month, so we'll place that report on file as well. Item number 5 is communications. Does anyone have any communications? I don't have any. If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Motion by Herbst, second by Peckham. Members in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? No one is? Thank you. Everyone have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next year.
Good work.
Thank you.